to Imola. In this world, it's all about fine lines. The line between success and failure. First place and last. And with this riding on it, you've got to leave it all on the line. Welcome to the 6th race of Season 6, live on Twitch.
Welcome along to the penultimate week of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports All-Stars right here from Imola for this, the 6th week of the championship. Just one more week to go and the All-Stars get to change cars once again and to try out some GT3 machinery. Paul Smith and Arjuna Kankipati here as always, and Arjuna, we finally get to see the GT3Rs out there on track.
I've been waiting for this one. I love this Porsche GT3R machine, especially this new 992 generation, the way the car really looks. It gives the drivers ABS traction control, aids that they've been maybe lacking over the last couple of weeks in the Porsche Cup car, and we bring them on a bit of an Italian tour, starting at Imola, where Paul, track limits will be a hot button talking point.
They certainly are, and the arbiter of track limits here will be very hot on that. But as you can see, we started off at Daytona, Hockenheim, Le Mans, Watkins Glen, Red Bull Ring, and now here, the final 2 rounds here in this Porsche 992 GT3R at Imola. And then next week, the drivers only get 1 week turnaround for Monza, the championship finale, which I am looking forward to greatly. That should be an absolute cracker to look forward to here in just a week's time. But here today, we are at the virtual Imola. A tricky track, not the widest of tracks, and certainly one that the drivers will find themselves tested in these 8-lap sprint race and the 16-lap main race.
Absolutely, and I think the one thing to keep an eye on is the fact that this car, of course, is enabled for the iRacing weather system. Today there's no rain in the forecast. That will be something drivers have to think about next week, maybe in the championship finale, but with the 8 to 16 laps, the full invert, Paul, it's a track we know is difficult to pass at. And as we dive into the track map itself, one thing that you don't get the sense from this perspective is the way the elevation, Paul, plays in to how you take the corners, the compression, the unloading of the car through various points around the track. So much attention was placed on that main straightaway and the run down into turn number 1, but let's be real, mistakes will be plenty, and you can make passes at anywhere on this track if someone goes off.
Yeah, I mean, a corner that I think typifies the undulation and the trickiness is the most difficult corner section on the whole track, and that's Acqua Minerale before you head back uphill towards the final chicane. It is one of the trickiest corners to get right, easy to make a mistake, easy for you to go off and to get yourself a corner cut penalty. Speaking of that corner, we just left that corner with Le 46 here on screen, heading towards what used to be Variante Alta. It has changed corner name, and that corner name has completely left me right now, Arjuna.
Yes, let's not talk about changing corner names, because that's going to be something we talk about next week as well. But one thing that this qualifying session is proving right now, I think, is that some drivers are going to have some fun starting down the back. Still waiting for Quirk to set a valid lap time. 17 drivers with times on the board. Quirk, the only driver that's going to have that work to do from the very back, and we're being joined for this week by Lauren Heinrich. No Ian Chenguven, who of course won as a Porsche All-Star in our last round, but Paul, going to be very interesting to see how he goes. Of course, joined as well by Bastian Boos, 3/10 between them at the front.
Yeah, I think those two are going to be a heck of a formidable a couple of drivers in this car especially. I would say in particular Lauren Heinrich, of course, former Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup championship contender. He competed in the very first season of the championship, so he's been at the very top of the esports side of things, but this isn't becoming a bit of a requirement if you want to be a Porsche factory driver, is that you've got to also have an element of sim skill alongside driving the real thing.
No, absolutely, but I think, you know, it also goes part and parcel with just being a racing driver nowadays, right? Taking advantage of the opportunities that you have. I mean, I've been following Riley Dickinson on social media, and he's been doing a lot of jumping around various tracks. He does some coaching as well in and amidst his racing in Porsches around the US. But, you know, that often means that limited track time. Where do you get the seat time? Sometimes it's by just jumping into the sim and learning the tracks. And the other thing that sim racing can sometimes do, Paul, is put a smile on your face. And it's great to see Storm Molina looking like she's enjoying her time here at Imola.
Trying to encourage a car to go a little bit faster down the start-finish straight here is Belle, and always good to see Storm Molina here, and she's got a loyal fan base as well. Very, very good to see them join us as always for this event. But the clock is ticking down to 0. The drivers do not get the chance to finish their laps, so that means that we will be heading towards our starting grid here today. And well, surprise, surprise, the former professional sim racer and now pro racing driver, Lauren Heinrich, is on the front row of the grid. Alongside him is Bastian Boost. A little bit of inter-team rivalry there between those two. Pulpo Lopez alongside Samsoid, with Casey Kerwin on row 3 alongside Basic Ollie. Daniel Gray on row 4 with Emery, with Love 46 and Straddy sharing 5th row. Grizzle and Kenny 500 on row number 6. A big grid here for the All-Stars this time. Dan Suzuki and TK share row number 7 with Matt Malone and Bodjazaz on row number 8. Storm Molina and Quirk, as you said, not getting a lap time in, finishes on row number 9. So 18 cars here for us in this All-Stars field. I mean, really, this should be nice and easy for Lauren Heinrich from the front, shouldn't it?
Yeah, but, you know, he's coming off competing in the GTD Pro category with iRacing in the first 2 rounds of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. One thing that he's never really had to do, standing start and launching it away. Going to be interesting to see how they go. 15 minutes or so of racing ahead. Yep,
the drivers then looking to the starters gantry. And away we go for action here in the sprint race, and it is a good launch from Lauren Heinrich on the front of the grid ahead of Bastian Boost, heading towards the Tamburello through the left, through the right. Another left to follow up from that on cold tyres, don't forget. Takes the tyres on this car a couple of laps or so to really get into its working window. So be careful and watch for some issues for drivers out there. Through Villeneuve and in towards Tosa for the first time.
The big lunges, not just Daniel Gray, but in front of him as well. Looks like Casey Kerwin going to try and get past Samsoid and try and close the margin to the top 3 that are threatening to break away as we rise up to the top of the hill. And this is where you don't really want to be side by side on cold tires. Daniel Gray's going to force the issue on Basic Ollie. You can pick up an off track in the early stages of this race and continue side by side down the hill and still continue fighting. Daniel Gray backs out of it eventually.
Into Aquaman they go through that tight right at the bottom of the hill there, and then uphill they go towards Grassini, the right and then the left at the top of the circuit here, before you then plunge back downhill towards Rivazza at the end of the lap. We've got a car going slow. That's Samsoid, no, it's Basic Ollie, and for Daniel Gray as well. So that's 2 slow down penalties, and that's easily picked up on the outside of Grassini.
And Borjazazo has had an incident and dropped to pit lane, so amidst all of that chopping and changing, maybe just drivers not just running wide, but getting checked up through the chicane as well. End of the opening lap, top 3 breaking away. Don't think we're going to see too much fighting between them. Because it's so intense, though, in this mid-pack, Daniel Gray still now having to defend from Kenny 500. He's on the outside into the opening corner.
Yeah, and, well, basically, giving him a nice draft, though, and contact between the 2 of them, and Kenny 500, oh, 2 into 1 at Tamburello, do not go. And that means around goes Daniel Gray. Kenny 500 waited for him, very gentlemanly driving there. And that allows Daniel Gray to stay ahead of him, but unfortunately that does put them towards the rear of the field. Lauren Heinrich, Bastian Boost and the Pulpo Lopez, top 3, ahead of Casey Kerwin, Samsoid, Emery, Love 46, Straddy, Grizzle and Dan Suzuki. That's your top 10. Here is Stradic in 8th place now, behind Love 46, but has got a couple of cars behind him as well, Grizzle and Dan Suzuki. Now those two, they know each other very well, so that maybe they'll be working together, will Grizzle and Dan Suzuki.
And I wonder how much communication has been planned out pre-race in terms of, I saw some drivers working together in practice, just getting an understanding for racing situations. Do they now also know what they want to do? Looking over the shoulder of Stradi, one thing I'm just looking at, it's a collection of wheels. We saw the start that a lot of these drivers are able to get. These cars in the real world do have dual clutch paddles as far as I can understand, right? So it's not, they're not designed necessarily to have standing start racing, but not necessarily a surprise, Paul, to see not many issues off of the line. Could be interesting, though, down into Monza. Turn one there, always dramatic.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be issues. It's a longer run as well down into turn one at Monza, so those drivers are definitely going to be pushing it on there. Now, Bastian Boos is there on screen right now. 2nd place, dropping back from Lauren Heinrich, who's in 1st. He's got the Pulpo Lopez and Casey Cohen. So Cohen has caught back up here. And I can tell you in the standings, it's 179 points to Casey Cohen, 156 to the Pulpo Lopez. So the Pulpo Lopez needs to finish ahead of Casey, but not just that, but outscore him by a decent amount.
And it's great seeing Casey in the Spire colours at the very least, of course, switching forces to join up with Spire Motorsports in the eNASCAR iRacing series here in 2024. But, when you are this far behind in the line, you're racing with a fixed setup as well. You've got to wonder what dirty air really does to your car and how much it will scrub your front tires. And, these slower speed corners like that chicane, maybe not such a bad sequence to deal with, but as you go through some of the faster corners to the midway part of the lap, that's where maybe it will be a bit more of a factor. He's just closing those at the back of the Pulpo Lopez and showing himself in the mirror.
He certainly is there. So through the left-hander onto the start and finish straight, and he'll go up through the gears, trying to see what he can do to get past the Pulpo Lopez. And Arjuna, we have got a special guest.
It's time to interrupt Casey Kerwin, special segment alert. Casey, great to have you with us. How are we enjoying this GT3 car as we're 3 laps in?
I'm actually enjoying it quite a bit. Don't really run GT3s too often, but this is actually a really fun combo. Struggled a little bit for consistency. I didn't really get a lap together in quali, but so far I've had a few good laps to start the race. I think we have a shot to battle with Pablo and maybe Bastian, but obviously Heinrich's driving off at a distance. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun actually, and yeah, enjoying it.
I do have to ask, you kind of fought a little bit, I think, with Lauren in the IMSA eSports Championship last year in the GTPs. You were similar speed sort of there. Are you learning something from seeing how fast he is in this car on the sim?
Well, I've seen him IRL in Rexy this year. I mean, he's been killing it there, obviously. So, yeah, it's obviously insanely good. And if I said, like, in qualifying, if I could have put a lap together that was within, like, 3/10, I'd have been really satisfied. And I think I was on for one until I off-tracked, but yeah, he's obviously insanely good. Raced him a little bit last year too, and Pascal started, I think, in the P-Cup car though. But yeah, learning as we go. ABS braking is always weird for me, so trying to get used to it. See what we can get to.
Well, Casey, thanks for joining us. And I would just say, Paul, if I'm ever 3/10 with Lauren Heinrich, pinch me. Just make sure it's not a dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I certainly. I mean, I've been racing this, as I mentioned in the last broadcast. I've been racing this GT3R, and I've been quite frankly happy if I'm within a second and a half of the pole sitter, let alone a professional. Meanwhile, we've got a couple more guests in the booth here, Arjuna.
Emily Jones, Love 46, fighting for 6th and 7th positions. Emily, how much pressure are you feeling from behind as you head off into turn number 1?
Big pressure, lots of pressure, all the pressure, yeah.
Love 46, this is a track, we've been talking a lot about track limits. How was qualifying from your perspective? How easy was it to get the time onto the board?
It was good for me, so I managed to set the lap without a track. I was happy because there was lap with my pace, which I'm doing right now. So yeah, but this track is tough with off tracks, of course.
at least, Emily, you've got GT3 cars, ABS traction control. How much are we using them here? Have we turned them down to the minimum, or are we trying to avoid them?
I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't really drive GT3 cars, and I don't know if you're supposed to use the ABS like Gran Turismo style, or if you're supposed to like not touch it. I'm kind of just going into every braking zone and just hitting the brake pedal an amount, and then yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's working. So yeah.
It sounds quite relatable to how I learned to drive off the new car. Love 46, of course, this is the third different car that we've driven. How does this rank in terms of up there with the GTP and the 992 Cup car for racing? Oh, I don't think we can hear Love 46 right now, so...
I'm here, I'm just trying to make these corners.
Very, very focused,
really
I guess.
Yeah, really focused. So I really like GT3s because I'm doing a lot of endurances with my team. But yeah, this car which I really like, and I got quite a lot of experience with it. The same as with the Porsche Cup.
Great to hear. We'll leave you to focus on this fight for sixth position because, you know, Paul, as they try and just focus on these last 6 minutes of the race, full invert lies ahead as well, and I can only imagine how chaotic that's going to be.
I have proven in the past how difficult it is to race in an all-star race and be having a commentator talking to you, trying to put you off. I know that because it was you that was trying to put me off, but the shoe was on the other foot earlier this year at Le Mans. In
Paul,
the
you say I tried to put you off. I was just trying to talk to you. You tried to put me off. So I'm just saying, next time we're getting you back in the car for something, and I am going to try to make your life a little bit more painful. Although I keep saying that we're going to have to do that for Casey Kerwin. At some point, Paul, he's going to sit with us for an entire race because he says he's not so good in a GT3 car. Look how much pressure he's putting on.
Yeah, he certainly is putting some tremendous pressure on the top screen there, race for second place, and look at how close the three of them are through the chicane there at Cassini. We've got the race for 11th as well going on. Matt Malone, Tony Kanaan and Quirk. Quirk's not being able to move through the field here. Does that just tell you, Arjuna, that he's struggling for pace around this track?
I think it goes to one of two things, right? We know it is hard to pass. Two, he's on the back of TK. Well, we know what the tension can be like between those two, right? TK is not going to let anyone pass easily, let alone Quirk. So I'm sure there's some lines being run that are quite defensive. Look, though, at the top of your screen into the opening corner. Bastian Boost forces the Pulpo Lopez to look to the outside, but no changes just yet. Pressure building, though, in a fight for seconds.
Let's not forget as well, Matt Malone was a part of the team for Daytona, for the iRacing Daytona 24 Hours. So, you know, that's a return to the teammates for that 11th place race. But look at this, the Pulpo Lopez looking to the outside of Tosa. That leaves him open to Casey Kerwin into the back of Bastian Boost, and Kerwin goes around. That means that Samsoid, Emery, Love 46, will Stradley make it past as well? The answer is yes. And all of a sudden, after challenging for a podium, Casey Kerwin drops down towards the bottom of the top 10.
And somewhere there's some racing driver excuses that I'm sure can be thrown out there. But at the end of the day, Casey was pushing hard, right? He was really trying to find a way through. And it's something that we'll have to keep in mind even with the Porsche eSports Supercup drivers, right? When they are battling that closely together, got to watch the weight transfer. The little bits of contact can make it very easy for the car to go around. And I think Casey found that out the hard way.
Yeah, of course, mid-corner at Tosa. He was desperate when the gap opened with Pulpo Lopez trying to go around the outside at Tosa. Just opened up that gap, and just a little bit too tempting there for Casey to have a look down there. And, well, Arjuna, I think somebody's got some answers.
Casey, come on. What happened there? You made a mistake.
No, there's no mistake there. No, I was like, oh, yeah, no, perfect opportunity. I got a little greedy. I was like, man, it's tough to pass here. And then when I saw Pablo was going to be a little offline, trying to go to the outside, I was like, oh, here's my opportunity. By the time I was like, let me try to go to the inside, they were already on the brakes and I was not. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. Yeah, I can't think of a random excuse to try and use. Just plowed right in the back of them. So, But it may work out okay for me because seems really hard to pass, and this puts me more to the front in the feature. So maybe I get rewarded for my mistake. We'll see.
Casey, to help you out, it was a random gust of wind. There you go.
That's it. That was a random tailwind that only I got. They didn't. I couldn't stop. See, I was blocking the tailwind for them, and I just couldn't stop. That's what it was. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Casey. We'll speak to you a little bit later, I'm sure. But we've only got 2 minutes remaining in this race here, Arjuna.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I was just going to say about Casey, you know, NASCAR drivers, they're meant to be quite good with the bump and run, right? Shane Van Gisbergen's been learning that out. Come on, Casey, you got to be better than that with the bump and run.
Well, what we are seeing is a tremendous race for 11th place right now, and Matt Malone is still holding on to this place right now. And as I mentioned, the 2 drivers behind him, they teamed up at the iRacing Daytona 24 Hours at the end of January, so they all ran in the same car, and Matt's even been showing off the signed photo that he's got hung on his wall in his studio of those drivers. As through we go towards the front of the field, through turn 1 into Tamburello, and Pulpo Lopez is getting certainly a good look at the rear end of that Porsche in front of him. I'm sure he'd want a different view.
Yeah, and I don't think he's really going to be able to find a way past, because he's been knocking on the door now for 8 full laps, and you know, a 9th lap, unless there's a mistake, Bastian Boost has just been placing that car where he needs to. You can see, though, forces the reaction, the look to move under braking. The Pulpo Lopez is there. He's going to have to try something desperate to force his way on forward.
If ever you have seen professional blocking and high-grade blocking, well, this is what you're getting right here from Bastian Boost. Doing nothing wrong about it either. He's just placing his car exactly where it needs to be in this opening race. We've got 15 seconds remaining, so this is the last lap. It's the last opportunity for the Pulpo Lopez to try and get a position through all of this. Up in towards Grassini for the final time. Up over the curbs, maybe get the run out of here, down towards the final 2 corners at Revazza at the end of the lap. Lauren Heinrich, though, well, he's had a nice Saturday afternoon drive here. He's almost got the slippers on and having a nice chill out at the front. But through the final corner he comes then, and he will be your race winner in the sprint race of the All-Stars. Lauren Heinrich takes the win. Here is the race. The Pulpo Lopez is suddenly in 2nd place. What has happened to Bastian Boost at the end there? He's dropped down the order to 8th place. High drama at the end.
And well, did the Pulpo Lopez get the elbows out? And did he get some championship points? We'll have to find out. But take a look at the replay. Remember, that will now move him to the back of the full invert along with Heinrich, so you can see him try and switch it back underneath. And then did Bastian Boost come off the curb and try and slam the door shut? That angle, I don't think tells the full story, Paul, but end result, the Pulpo Lopez to 2nd.
I think there'll be a long conversation between them after that opening race, but it is Lauren Heinrich who wins by a stroll there, 6.6 seconds ahead of Pulpo Lopez. Sam Soyd and Emery in 3rd and 4th place ahead of Love 46. Straddy Casey Kerwin ends up in 7th ahead of Bastian Boost, with Pacey Colley and Grizzle rounding out your top 10. Then it's Matt Malone, Quirk and Tony Kanaan ahead of Dan Suzuki, Daniel Gray, Kenny 500 and Storm Molina. The driver who will be starting on pole position will be Borja Zaza, who finishes last place, did not finish the race. And well, let's go and speak to our race winner, Arjuna. Take it away with Lauren Heinrich.
Lauren in a GT3 car, and it seems quite familiar hunting grounds for you. Talk us through that race. It seems quite boring.
It was not boring. As you can see, I'm sweating quite a lot, just like in the real car. No, it was quite surprising to have a standing start. I wasn't really prepared for that. It's a nice combo. GT3R at Imola. Never drove it in real life, but enjoyed it in the sim. And yeah, I think now it will be a really interesting race to start from the back. Bastian got, let's say a bit lucky that he got spun, because now he's starting further ahead in the feature race.
Oh, I love the little rivalry between our two Porsche drivers here today. Lauren, I was going to ask about the chaos of, this full invert. You've come over to America this year. You've been driving Daytona, Sebring. Does the chaos of IMSA and multi-class traffic prepare you well for a Porsche All-Star race and starting at the very back?
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's also vice versa. I think also the All-Star race will prepare me well for our next race in Laguna Seca. So, yeah, let's see. I think I only finished one feature race in the All-Stars yet, so cross your fingers that I'm gonna make it. I will be really careful this time and just trying to get it to the finish.
One more question before we let you go. How much are you enjoying your season in America? I mean, it looks quite fun driving a car as good as Rexy and having as much fun in the competition as IMSA.
Yeah, it's amazing. Honestly, it was always a dream of mine to race in IMSA and then to do it with AO Racing, with Rexy in the GTD Pro class is it's a huge step for me. And we finished second in Daytona. We were fighting until the very end for the win in Sebring. I think we got a really, really strong package. And I think now we shift our focus a bit more to the championship, try to finish the races well in the points. I think we got a strong package. For me, it's a dream come true. All these racetracks I know from iRacing, Laguna Seca, Sebring, Daytona, now to drive them in real life for the first time is just amazing.
Well, Lauren, congrats on the sprint race win and best of luck on carving your way through from the back of the field.
Thank you.
So there we go. That is our race winner for the sprint race. And as you mentioned there, Arjuna, we've got a full inverted grid for race number 2. And we saw how difficult it can be to overtake around here. So I think it'll be quite the challenge for Lauren to come through.
And I don't think that he's incorrect in saying Bastian Boost has a bit of an advantage now starting up in 8th. And so, in some ways, does Casey Kerwin. And so, if they're able to take advantage on the start, move up a couple of positions, we see some separation. We're probably, I don't think, in a situation, Paul, where we're expecting Lauren Heinrich to do the double and win both of our races here in the Porsche All-Stars.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to get that double race win here. At the virtual Imola, of course, only 3 races remaining now for the All-Stars this season, so time is running out for them to get themselves into that top 5 in the championship. There is your format once again, 25 minutes. Second race here, the main race, and it is a full field inversion. And with 18 drivers, if I'm correct, Arjun, that is our biggest field in the All-Stars.
Yes, they've all realized that I'm not on the grid, and so it's safe for them to be in a Porsche GT3R.
Well, let's take a look at the grid then. It is Borja Zazo and Storm Molina on the front row, with Kenny 500, Daniel Gray on row 2, Dan Suzuki and Tony Kanaan on the 3rd row. Row number 4 for Quirk and for Matt Malone, with 5th row of Grizzle and Basic Ollie. Bastian Boos alongside Casey Kerwin on row number 6. Row 7 for Straddy and Love 46, Emery and Sampson on row number 8, and the Pulpa Lopez and Lauren Heinrich round out our 9 rows of the grid. All the drivers getting themselves prepared for this second race. 25 minutes. Track temperature is nice and cool, only 27 degrees Celsius on the track, 25.5 in the air. So pretty much ideal conditions for these GT3 machinery. And well, Paul Zaza, he'll be wanting a little bit more luck here today. The revs have rised. And we are underway for 25 minutes of action in the main race of the All-Stars, down towards Tamburello for the first time. Cold tyres and brakes for them all to contend with. Into the left, then the right, and there's 2 off. There's 2 off already. Kenny 500 is one of them. As we carry on towards the Villeneuve chicane. And well, it's a nice big gap there for Borja Zaza over Daniel Gray.
It was Storm Molina, it was Kenny 500, the 2 I think came together. But now as we work our way towards Tosa, look at the drivers thinking it's time to make some dives, time to force the issue. Big moves from the back as Casey Kerwin's trying to work his way forward. I think Basic Ollie's dropped back, so is Samsoid. Chaos on the opening lap, Paul, like we kind of expected with the full invert through the field.
Yeah, and I think people desperately trying to get their best opportunity of moving through the field here as well. And that means that they're around and facing the wrong way, unfortunately. So, up the hill towards Grassini once again. It is Borjazazo ahead of Daniel Gray, ahead of Dan Suzuki. Tony Kanaan in 4th place, ahead of Quirk. Their battle from race number 1 is continuing here. And look at that, 6th place, Grizzle with Matt Malone. Casey Kerwin only 9th, the Straddy in 10th place. So people have been able to move forward, but mainly through incidents happening out there.
And I wonder where we sit in terms of incident points now as well, as poor Casey Kerwin elbows out and forces Matt Malone out wide there. There was no asking. Malone still slithering off the corner as back onto the pit straight they come. Yeah, I think I need to know, where do we sit in terms of the incident points? Malone still bleeding positions.
Yes, that run out of Rivazza, and in fact, I think he's got a slow down penalty, has he? Well, he's certainly slow down the straight here because everybody is going past him here. Oh my goodness, this has been an absolute disaster out here for Matt Malone. And well, Arjuna, we get to have a word with him now.
Matt, what's happening? Come on.
You know, every time on these feature races, I'm driving with my mirror because everyone fast behind me wants to be ahead of me, and that's what happens. I end up screwing up. Look, Casey went for a dive. I was reading over the sporting code last night, which I frequently do. It's good nighttime reading. And I don't know, he was cutting it close to, if you look at paragraph 8, subsection B, you know, that dive to the inside. Not a big fan, so I'm going to have to take another look at that. But, you know, just had a little slowdown there, let everyone by. Pretty typical.
It's a little bit of a slowdown opening lap. It's always more painful as well. Where do you sit in terms of incident points? I do have to ask you.
Oh, I'm already, well, I only have 2 right now. I'm on the 2nd lap, so that's pretty good.
All right,
I almost maxed it.
We've got Casey here as well. Matt, come on, you've got to ask him. What happened there?
Hey, Casey, I was reading over the sporting code. You may have violated a rule.
You moved under braking. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Moving under braking, excuse me, I broke, lifted, then moved, then broke again. I wasn't moving while braking, all right? That's technicality.
That is the technicality, yeah. My wheel disconnected again, so I guess that's karma.
Yeah, I should have just let you by and tucked in, and I had to slow down. Now everyone's ahead of me, but looks like we got a blinker up ahead. That could be an issue. Oh, Casey,
my wheel. Yeah, my wheel's been disconnecting. We've been having issues. It happened again.
It happened again. Hey, these are just the extra things us sim racers have to deal with. You know, we really got to
reliability issues.
Yeah, adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
You say that, but there are stories of, I forget which endurance championship it was, but weird things having to be done with steering wheels every single lap. So, Casey, you're just experiencing what sometimes real-world drivers have to do. Didn't Dale Jr. at one point take his wheel off and then try and control his car with his hand?
He did have to do that, yeah. It was under caution for him, so, I don't know, I lost 8 spots there or something like that right there, so unfortunate, but we'll go on.
Content for you guys.
Yeah. Immersion.
Casey, you know what's never given me issues? Is my Ace Attack wheelbase, okay? Get yourself an Ace Attack. You're going to be fine. You think you get a lot of trophies now, Casey? Are you kidding me? You're leaving a lot. You get a whole new room just to hold them all. You get that Ace Attack going. Yeah.
We've moved from the jury room to the showroom, so I think we're going to let Matt and Casey go. Thank you so much, guys, for always joining us and putting a smile on our face, because, Paul, this is what we love about the All-Stars.
Yeah, I will want to mention that other wheelbases are available out there as well. We have got Daniel Gray and Dan Suzuki out here. The first and second places. Daniel, we've seen you move up to the front of the field. How are you feeling about that?
Mate, I'm winning a race. I'm on top of the world. Look at me go. No, honestly, after having a bad race 1, this is amazing. I think you should talk to Dan Suzuki just the rest of the race, keep him nice and distracted, and that'll be good.
No, Dan's been very adept at just ignoring what we're saying and then just answering a question that he's thought up in his head. But Dan, I mean, here we are. You've gained 3 places. How are you feeling in this GT3 machinery?
Oh, so far so good. I mean, a nice little 360 no-scope in the first one, just for the fans, you know. But let's see what this will give. I mean, Quirk behind, that will be a big trouble. But let's see if I can keep him behind. But yeah.
Well, Daniel, you've been slowly pulling away, and we can't be having that here. So I'm going to bother you a little bit more here. Now, I've got a bone to pick with you, Dan, because you've written all season on your car, say some nice things about me, Arjuna, and you've forgotten about the other guy in the commentary box. I mean, what's all that about?
I mean, what can I say? Arjuna is just, he's Mr. Hollywood of sim racing, you know? He's the man to know, you know? But, no, I'm only kidding, Paul. I was going to write high Paul on this car, but the livery deadline got me a little bit, so I didn't have time.
We'll wait for next week.
Look, if I get invited back to next PESC All-Stars, I promise I'll write high Paul on the car straight away.
And Dan, just finally, you know, this season, it's been quite a tough season of the All-Stars. Do you feel that the level of competition has just increased?
Yeah, I think so. Also, didn't get too much preparation in. I mean, of course, random excuse here. No, but like the grid is super competitive and didn't have the best of luck. Some bad crashes, missed a round, but yeah, let's see what this race will bring.
Well, Dan and Daniel, thank you very much. We'll let you two go away and carry on. And Arjuna, we've got even more guests in the commentary booth.
This is the fun of the All-Stars. Lauren Heinrich rejoins us. The Popo Lopez joins us for the first time today. Let's start with you, the Popo Lopez. What happened there? Final couple of corners, that previous race, contact. Come on, talk us through it.
We had a good battle, but I thought we were losing too much time. Malone was catching and we were losing the train, so I back off after the chicane and said, let's catch them again.
Let's go.
That's it.
How crazy has it been on the start, Lauren? Was it kind of what you expected?
Yeah, I took it really easy this time. So I think I only made like 1 or 2 positions. I think it was the right approach because there were some cars spinning, and I think if I would have pushed, I would have been involved. So it was the right decision, but now it's quite tough to overtake, honestly.
So the Popo Lopez, 6 seconds off of the race leader. They're starting to fight a little bit more at the front. Do you think there's still a chance you can close up there and get some more championship points?
Would be nice if we get there, but it's so difficult to pass in the draft train. I was lucky in the race before, but this one is still struggling.
Lauren, are you going to go for it? You going to show us a move?
But I will try for sure, but I don't want to ruin. I don't want to ruin anyone's race. Yeah, let's see. Now I'm gonna catch up after the mistake again.
Instead, Lauren proves that he's human as well, and that talking to us, Paul, can be the great equalizer as he bumbled over a curb and makes a small mistake.
Yeah, normally drivers just have to listen to an engineer, but not to two people in the commentary booth. But there we go. That's what you get for joining us here on this one. As we carry on, it is Daniel Gray from Quirk at the front, but it's only half a second between the two of those. Dan Suzuki in third place ahead of Porsche Zazo, and we've got 2 more drivers joining us here now, Emery and Basic Ollie. We're going to start with you, Ollie. I mean, you've been involved in all sorts of shenanigans in this round of the championship.
Yeah, I know. I was quite disappointed, really, because I thought if I just have a clean 2 races here, I could potentially get in the top 5. But yeah, it is what it is. You know, nothing I can do about it now. Just got to get my head down and just concentrate as Casey goes spinning there. And yeah, there you go. There's the position. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but hopefully we can move forward.
Well, that's it. If ever you want the freebie, it's there. Now, you've got Emily right in front of you, and Emery, you know, we're looking at this one. There's tyre smoke ahead of you. Just how difficult is it to get by around here?
It's quite tricky. I'm also really scared under brakes. So, like, I think I'm braking a lot earlier than everyone. Oh, I just gave that away to the car behind. But I'm very scared of passing people, but there's a bit of drama, so we've avoided the big junk so far.
And Ollie, you know, we want to be seeing some moves, but doing them nice and cleanly. Where are you seeing the opportunities of getting past Emily here, then?
I don't know, Emily, where do you think I can overtake?
Definitely not turn 1. Don't go turn 1.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's very tough here. It's really tough. The off tracks are making it very difficult. I think you could easily get a driver here with 20 instant points. It's not an easy track to stay clean at, and moves are really tough. So yeah, I think we'll see some desperate lunges near the end by people, and I think if we just keep clean, we might get in the top 10. I want an 8.
Yeah, me too. Okay, cool. That's fine.
Well, make that 9. Make that 9.
Well, there you go. And all I will say as the arbiter of strict track limits, keep it between the white lines. As we carry on board then with Straddy, let's give you a little bit of the sounds as we go full throttle with Buzz. As we are back, and it is the fight for the lead then. It is Dan Gray in first place and Quirk in second here. Absolutely neck and neck as they're heading down towards the final corners at Rivazza once again. And the advantage here for Quirk is that he's getting a nice slipstream from the car in front, Arjuna, and he's not giving any slipstream behind.
Yes, and you know, we mentioned Quirk struggled in qualifying to get a lap time even onto the board, had to start at the very back. Put himself in a position here to really try and fight, and here he comes. Quirk's joined us in the broadcast booth as well. Quirk, what happened in qualifying? Where are you now?
Well, in qualifying, I had a bit of a scare with basic ollie, and that mentally I just checked out, and then I just got off track. So there's enough time to recover and get, you know, a lap in, but mentally I checked out. And then in the first race had a little bit of an incident with Porsche, and it's just been tough. It's been nice to kind of reset after that race ended, just relax for a minute and give it a go here on the second one, and hopefully I can pass Daniel. He's been setting some really good laps, but I'm trying to be patient. We still got enough time.
You got enough time, you've got a gap behind as well. You've been stalking your prey in some ways. You've been slowly closing that gap.
Yeah.
We know it's hard to pass here at Imola. Where are you going to try and make the pass happen?
It depends. I'm not sure. Just whatever corner I decide to use this car as a brake. And no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Maybe, hopefully, we can get a run on the last corner heading into T1 or the hairpin.
Well, very often, Quirk, what we do is we bring you in to make fun of TK. TK, let's do the opposite.
Oh, no.
Quirk fighting for the win. Let's put him off a little bit. What can you say to interrupt him?
No, see, I just made a mistake. I don't know. I don't think he can't see
this far off track. Just anything. So
I can't really talk. I'm sorry. I think he's just lucky with his strategy. He keeps like making bad choices in the first race to actually be able to lead the second race, which is much easier.
There you go. I mean, Quirk, come on, you've heard it.
He's exposed me. No.
I'm sorry, TK, that we made you make a small mistake. How's your race been going in general, though?
Terrible. I don't know why, but I'm not fast at all at this track, and I struggle quite a bit. So I'm not fast, period, but it's worse today.
We've let Quirk go. We brought Grizzle into the booth. Grizzle, it looks like there's a long train that's starting to build. How are you feeling right now with 8.5 minutes to go?
Well, the pressure is there. Had a nice overtake on Tony there. Hopefully it wasn't too brutal, but made it work. And I do see that train in the back, and it is terrifying, so I'm trying to maintain my composure and see what we can do.
I do have to ask you, did you ever think you'd be in a race where not only you have TK, Tony Kanaan behind you, but also got Lauren Heinrich, Bastian Boos in the field as well? It must be quite surreal in some ways.
Oh, definitely. Unfortunately, we had a bit of an incident with Boos, and it is an honor to be in the same track, or in the same car as well, as Lawrence Heinrich, who drives for Rexy, which is awesome. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
The way to look at it is you also had the privilege of being in an incident with Bastian Boos as well, right? So there you go.
Definitely. I might take a screenshot and frame it, you know? It's not every day you get to have those moments.
There you go, the joys of sim racing. But Paul, as much as we're enjoying chatting with these drivers, business still picking up at the front as we continue to head into the closing stages.
Yeah, business is picking up at the front here. Look at them. Quirk all over the back of Daniel Gray right now, but not able to make that move quite yet here as we're going to the Villeneuve chicane once again. And these two, they've been at each other's throats pretty much the entirety of this this race here. Once Quirk was able to get ahead of Dan Suzuki and was able to pull up to the back of Daniel Gray, this has been absolutely neck and neck for the rest of this race. And I mean, Quirk, the opportunities don't come very often around here. He needs to take an opportunity when it shows itself.
Yes, and that's why he was also, I think, saying, right, he's not going to force it, he's going to wait, which is what you want to hear as well. He made the joke about the bump and run, maybe being a bit more effective than Casey Curran was slightly earlier, but I think realistically, they're all on the same setup. They all know how the car's probably feeling at this point, and as much as you're all over that big rear wing and the rear diffuser of the 911 GT3R, if Gray continues to run these defensive lines, there's not much Quirk can do to force the issue. He doesn't force it down into the penultimate corner.
Yeah, you can make a lunge down into Rivazza. You can do that. You can see how Quirk's just running over that inside curb on turn 19. Just to try and hook the car around to get it launch out of that final corner, and then a long section now that's full throttle. 21 turns officially on the track, although quite frankly it's quite similar to American corner numbering, with some of those corners not necessarily being corners out there. A Quirk up over the curb there. That's not the ideal line.
But apparently it's not necessarily a slow line, right? That's one of those things about racing. There's an ideal line, maybe, yes, but there is also sometimes lines you can get away with. Qualifying underway for the Porsche eSports Supercup, by the way. You can see that on the bottom of your screen, and may already have some potential drama. Been noting in the virtual paddock that there's been some maybe technical issues for Sebastian Jobe. We'll have to wait and see, Paul, if he's going to get the chance to set a really quick qualifying time.
Oh, that could be an interesting talking point throughout our coverage here. Remember, you've got the countdown to Super Cup in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. 16.5 minutes until Super Cup, so stick around. But meanwhile, on the top of your screen there, Quirk still all over the back of Daniel Gray. It's almost like a seagull all over a chip sandwich at the seaside. He's that close to Daniel Gray. He wants this place.
Paul, it's just about to strike noon here. You're making me hungry. But I think what you're seeing as well, right, is just recognition from Quirk that he's just running the line of Daniel in front. This is though winding down into those final couple of laps. The one place you get the opportunity to use the drop is into turn number 1. So on the final lap, you're going to have to try and take that opportunity, because after that, let's be real, doesn't look like Gray's going to put a foot wrong.
No, he's been very solid all the way through this race here in the main race. Race for 7th on the bottom screen. You can see there, there's Stradi, there's Lauren Heinrich is there. You've got the Pulpa Lopez who's trying to outscore Casey Kerwin again and take that championship fight to the final round of the championship at Monza in just a week's time. Don't forget that it's 1 week turnaround for not just these drivers, but the drivers in the Porsche Heuer eSports Supercup.
If you look very closely, bottom of your screen, by the way, it's hard to tell because Lauren Heinrich's car was black, but he's missing the front nose of his car. So somewhere in his battle to work his way on forward, there you can see it. You can see some of those attachment points basically, and then the radiator that's now been totally exposed. He's had contact to move his way on forward, Paul. I'm wondering who was the unfortunate party, or maybe fortunate if you feel like it's a privilege to have contact with Lauren Heinrich in the sim.
Well, if nothing else, the cooling for the oil radiators and the water cooling will be very effective there for those drivers as they're coming down. Once again, this race for the lead, absolutely neck and neck. Hardly anything between them. There was less than 1/10 of a second difference last lap time-wise. So these two, as they're coming through the final corner onto the start and finish straight in Arjuna, we're lucky to hear from both drivers right now because they are putting pressure and under pressure.
You say lucky. Daniel Gray says, oh no, not me again, right?
I'm always thrilled to talk to you guys, always.
Is it easier or harder to talk and race early in the morning, Daniel? You tell us from your experience.
Well, I think I have the unique advantage of probably talking constantly on stream more than anyone else. So it's a lot harder at 5 a.m., but still doable for sure.
Well, Quirk's trying to set you up. Quirk, what's going through your mind now as you take it side by side?
I think we're going side by side the next couple corners. That's what's going through my mind.
Oh, come on, guys. How's it going to go? Up through the top of the hill?
I gave him too much space.
Pump of the fist there, Daniel. Happy with that one, huh?
Very happy with that one.
He's not happy with that one, though, as they come out of Aquaminarale. This is your chance, Quirk. Come on, get the opportunity and do the switchback.
Don't do that, Quirk. That's horrible advice.
Well, we only got 1 lap left. Something's got to give. I'm tired of playing with my food.
I can tell
like the Hunger Games. We can both win, you know? We just have to, it's fine.
I can tell you while all this is going on, Love 46 and the Pulpa Lopez have both got mechanical meatball warning flags, so they're back to pit road very shortly indeed. But this is your opportunity now, Quirk. Slipstream, you've got nobody else to worry about. It's time to go for it.
We're going to have to.
Come on, Daniel, you can't just let him by. Put him to a defensive effort in here. Oh, that's a door wide open, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, you're meant to defend the outside there, Sam. This is why I put Arjuna on the car and not Paul.
Well, that's it, Arjuna, you take it away, I'm done.
Problem is, I would have said the exact same thing. So how do you now defend for the rest of the lap? Where are you going to place your car? Tell Quirk your exact game plan, why don't you?
Yes, please.
My plan is just keep Quirk behind me. If he gets in front of me, I'm just going to punt him and claim it was netcode because I'm from Australia. That's the plan.
Oh, I mean, it's a racing driver excuse right there. I mean, Quirk got very close, but Quirk, you've got 2 more braking zones. Come on, you've got to try and make it happen here, right? Yes, please.
Listen, I know there's not mechanical failures, but I'm on an iRacing beta, and I think there's going to be a brake failure. I've heard that they're implementing random failures, and I might have to test that real soon here.
I say there's not a lot of rooting for Daniel Gray 10 going.
Oh! Quirk's around! Daniel Gray
I'm not happy. Sorry.
With a pump of the fist there, Quirk! He was there, he's so happy! Daniel Gray's just got 2 more corners to go here through Rivazza. Don't throw it off the track now, Daniel. And well,
let's go.
let's go through the final corner then. Here we are then to the line. It's going to be Daniel Gray taking victory in the feature race here on the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports All-Stars. An emotional Daniel Gray, Arjuna.
Oh, Daniel, I mean, that looked like a lot of fun for you. We see the rest of the drivers come to the line. How are you feeling? A race winner once again.
Man, what a racing pest! Let's go! Oh, that's awesome. I had a horrible race one, but with this format, I guess you can always come back. And I'm so happy. That's awesome.
Well, we'll take it to the Buzz post-race show, and, well, there we go. Daniel Gray, race winner, big smile on his face. Worth waking up in the morning for you then, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Definitely worth the 5 a.m. the 3 a.m. wake up.
So, yeah, that's a race win then. I mean, you had to do it the hard way as well. You had to defend on that one. It wasn't just gifted to you.
No, that was intense. I feel like Quirk definitely had the pace, but I think he played with his food a little bit, and I think I got a little bit lucky with that. But I'll take it. A win's a win.
Well, we'll say thank you very much for joining us and putting up with us in the commentary book. Congratulations on the race win there, Daniel.
Thank you so much, guys.
And Arjuna, well, he takes it away with Dan Suzuki.
Dan joins us now. Dan, you were able to take advantage of Quirk's mistake to move forward to second, but it did seem as though you guys were having a pretty fun fight behind in the run for what ended up being second. Talk us through that fight from your perspective.
This Dan here?
Yes, we got you, loud and clear.
I mean, like, for me, it was a pretty, I mean, the start was great. Gained 2 positions, was a bit aggressive. Got lucky with the contact ahead. I mean, shame for them, but start was good. And after that, the race settled down a little bit. I saw Quirk behind. I knew, like, I have no chance against Quirk, so I just didn't defend too hard, let's put it like that. And then I just tried to keep it clean, tried to maintain the gap to Borja, it was, I think, yeah. Because there was a train forming behind, so I was in my little bubble and just could enjoy the battle in front of me, and then Quirk was so kind to give back the position at the end.
Oh, I was watching your webcam and I noticed your motion rig. How much around a track like this, where you're being thrown over the curbs and you're trying to understand how much of the track that you can use, how much does that help you get the most from your car?
I would say it's a lot of fun. It's very immersive. It doesn't really help in terms of understanding what the car is doing, but it feels amazing. I run it like 30% because otherwise it would be too crazy, especially with streaming and everything. But it's especially like you said, over the curbs. It's very, very fun to feel it, but it doesn't really help you to get quicker, unfortunately, as you probably can tell.
Sounds like I need to add it to my rig just so I have another racing driver excuse to why I'm not quick enough.
Definitely, yeah. Can recommend.
There we go. We've got some more excuses in the bag. Thanks for joining us once again, Dan. We'll see you for our season finale in a week's time.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, let's take you through your race results then. So it is Daniel Gray. 6.5 seconds does not tell the whole story of that race over Dan Suzuki, with Quirk in third ahead of Paul Giazzo, Grizzle, Lauren Heinrich, Casey Kerwin, Tony Kanan. Casey Kerwin in 8th then in the end ahead of Matt Malone and Pulpo Lopez. Samsoid, Emery, Kenny 500, Storm Molina, Straddy, basically with Love 46 and Bastian Boost did not finish that race. Wow. Well, I mean, we're running out of time here, Arjuna, but, well, that second race, the main race, was certainly entertaining.
And maybe a bit more action-packed than I think either of us were expecting. So I think, you know what? Let's dial our expectations maybe up a little bit for the Porsche eSports Supercup that lies ahead. We've got the best drivers in the world, a championship that is, let's be honest, on a precipice right now. We've got one round to go after this, where we do have more points on the line. Today really sets the stage for what the Temple of Speed will deliver for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the All-Stars, always entertaining here in this championship, and it's been great to have them racing here in their GT3 machinery. But coming up next, then, is going to be the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup in the 992 Cup car. It's a completely different beast, is that one. It's certainly going to be more of a handful for these pro drivers.
We saw, right, at one point, Quirk bounced over the curb. If that happens in the Cup car, going to be a very different sort of a situation. We talk about track limits as well. They have so much less downforce, effective grip, so they're going to be slipping and sliding around the track as well. We're going to be very curious to see what track temperatures are going to be like, Paul, because tire wear, that might be a factor that we have to deal with come the feature race and its slightly longer race duration.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be intriguing to watch. It's the last week where we have the traditional point scoring. So you want to get whatever points that you can here, because the big points are going to be at the end of the season at Monza. We'll touch on that later. But do stick around with us here on this, the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup, because we are coming up next with the Super Cup. We are into the second half of the championship. 20 laps of racing around this Red Bull Ring. Revs are rising. Green flag, and we are away. Johan Half to the inside of Sam Kaiser. And Johan Half takes the lead.
Joe goes for the move for the lead. Campbell switches back underneath.
Campbell's going to have to back out. Sebastian Job is a race winner once again. 3 times this season in the main races.
In this world, it's all about fine lines. The line between success and failure. First place and last. Blurring the lines between reality and perfection. You've got to leave it all on the line. Welcome to Season 6.
It's time for the Italian job. Just 2 more weeks of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup, and we are here at Imola for this, the penultimate week of the championship. Paul Smith and Arjuna Kankipati here on commentary. And Arjuna, I mean, well, it's coming to a culmination now, is this championship.
It's the shortest championship we've seen in Porsche eSports Super Cup history. Unique formats brought to the forefront as well, and it's really given us, I think, something to look forward to. Mathematically, still plenty of contenders left at play, but realistically, with the form book sitting the way it is, it's poised very finely for those up towards the front, and with qualifying done and dusted, points already starting to be paid out.
Yeah, absolutely, and we will take you to your qualifying results in just a moment's time. But here is where we have been. Daytona, Hockenheim, Le Mans, Watkins Glen for that mid-season tournament. Then it was the Red Bull Ring last time out 2 weeks ago. And then, as I say, 2 weeks in Italy, Imola, and then next week, the drivers don't get any rest. It's Monza for the championship finale, and you will not want to miss either of these 2 weeks of the championship. And these drivers, well, they've got a sprint race and they've got a feature race, a main race here. 8 laps for the sprint race. The top 8 from the results of that sprint race get inverted on the grid for the main race. 16 laps, double the length for that main race. And Arjuna, as we take a look at the track map, we've seen it can be a tricky track, can this one?
And once again, track limits with this car in particular are going to be, I think, what we're going to talk about. Haven't been here for a handful of years as well. So, you know, you go back to 2021 when Sebastian Job, sprint race winner, Josh Rogers, main race winner. I mean, there are some drivers that would love to be up there on that graphic the next time we return here to the 5 kilometers of Imola's circuit. And I think we talk about the main straight, but realistically, with the way the racing is going to play out, it's those chicanes, the chock-a-block nature of them, that's going to define how much craziness we see and how many cars survive through the course of the racing action.
Well, let's take a look then who has won the Tag Heuer Pole Position Award, and it's Sam Keitert of Team Redline. He has got himself onto pole position for this week. A great result for the Redline driver, and I do believe that is his first ever pole position. Yes, it is in the championship. So there we go. 1 pole position to Sam Keitert, 1 to Sanchez, 1 to McEwen, and 3 to Sebastian Job. We'll touch on him in just a few moments' time. But we get to speak to our pole position sitter Arjuna. It's Sam Keitert.
Sam, congratulations, first ever pole position in the series. Talk us through this lap, especially given that we know track limits really difficult to master on the one attempt you get.
Yeah, thanks. From never being on pole in ever, now being 2 times in a row. Of course, with a reverse sprint, but yeah, really happy with the lap. The off tracks are tough, so you're really driving on that. Like, of course, getting the maximum out of it, but like on the edge, but not hitting it. For the overall, it was a really clean lap. Getting my groove again, what I had in contenders, I have to say. Missed it a bit at the first part of the season, but yeah, happy to have the back now. And in general, yeah, we have done a lot of practice in Q, and yeah, it's paying off now.
I know there's a lot of testing that you guys do trying to find a lot of that speed, and we've seen some swings and roundabouts there. One thing that I was just noticing looking at the conditions, quite cool in terms of temperatures. How's that impacting your tire usage on these qualifying laps? Can you really try and push the tire to get the most grip from it?
Yeah, of course, temps is really deciding how fast the session is or how slow. But the wind especially is hitting, is making every session different, and yeah, the wind can blow from literally everywhere, so yeah, you have to adapt to that quickly, and yeah, sometimes you have some really nice wind in your ass on the straight, and sometimes you out of nowhere get some wind on your tail in the corner, so you have to adapt to that really easy as possible, but yeah, that's where we practice on and do a lot of laps on, so yeah. Happy what I said, I'm finally hit it finally.
Congratulations, Sam, on grabbing the pole position. Glad to hear that you're excited about starting at the front of the field as well. Best of luck in the sprint race. We'll see how it goes for you here at Imola.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope you have a fun race.
And we'll go from Sam Keitert, who is your pole award winner here today, to your pole award winner, Tag Heuer Award, pole award winner for the season. It's Sebastian Job that joins us now. Seb, congratulations, 3 poles over the course of 6 races so far. What's been the key to you to getting the most from these qualifying sessions?
I'm not sure really. Quali actually has been a bit up and down this season. No, well, I say that it started off really great and then it just went terribly at Red Bull Ring. So I can't say I've been incredibly consistent qualifier. Maybe in the first 2 rounds it was consistent. Yeah, I don't know really. I've just been really gelling with the car this season. Got a good team working around. Just the pace has been good, so I can go in without too much pressure.
You say you haven't been consistent. I'm just going to say you're second here today, and I know you've had a couple of technical issues building up into today. Talk us through that. What's been going on? How are you feeling ahead of the racing that we have?
Yeah, man, this was the most stressful 20 minutes I think in my sim racing career. I was just doing a practice lap 20 minutes before qualifying, and my whole PC completely crashed. Everything froze. My wheel went crazy, and genuinely 15 minutes of trying, and I couldn't get my PC to start. And then I just got it done in time, and I loaded into the session with 2 minutes to go. Didn't get a warm-up lap, so I just wanted to get a lap without a massive mistake or an off track, and luckily I got that just about. But my God, I was so stressed.
You do look like you're smiling though, and that's something we've seen over the course, I think, of this year, and you lead the championship right now. We've got this round, we've got Monza to go. Talk us through how you feel about the racing, the championship racing we've got left.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm still really on edge. I'm trying to smile through the panic at the moment because I have no idea if my PC's going to shunt again. I have no idea what caused it. Yeah, I'm pretty stressed. So, yeah, we'll have to see. I think the race is starting now, so I've got to, yeah, go.
We'll let you go. The one thing just to know, Paul, is this Thursday Porsche eSports Sprint Challenge Canada, championship leader there. His power died 20 minutes before the race. He had a generator. What did he go out and do? He won the race, continued to extend his championship lead. Let's see if Seb can do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a thrilling, a thrill ride, and I can imagine a very stressful time for Sebastian Joe. But there you go. Sam Kiter, first ever pole position in the series. He's there alongside Sebastian Joe on the front row. Diogo Pinto and Johan Harpham are on row number 2 with Chris Lulham and Jordan Caruso, row number 3. Fourth row, Bico and Ariel with Webster, Sanchez, Cipolla and Lombardi rounds out your top 6 rows. Sarika and Campbell on row number 7. Luke McEwen, he'll be disappointed with row number 8 alongside Jakub Maciejewski. Leslie Back and Salva Talens row number 9 with Kevin Nielsen at Bryn Collins row 10. 11th row of Michael Janney and Parker White with Thompson and Rinne. And then the final few rows, Pai, Sonnen, Marceno, Kita and Matthias Stuckbeck at the back of the field. I can tell you, Arjuna, that Josh Thompson has had a bit of a stressful time himself because he's been moving property and moving venue. So he missed out on the Porsche eSports Carrera Cup Great Britain last week to focus on this round.
Oh, I feel sorry for him. I actually intentionally last year decided not to move just because I didn't want to have to deal with it during a bunch of broadcasts that we had. I can't imagine what it must be like trying to prepare and all of that for the racing that we've got ahead, especially for him trying to lock himself back in to the top 15 in the points. Look at the drivers, though, all just waiting to run down into turn number 1. It's an angry start. You've got some of the cars folding around on the start, quote-unquote, straight that we have here at Imola. And Paul, Seb was nervous. Imagine what that must feel like for him, though, as he sits here and waits, unsure about what lies ahead. But 8 laps in this sprint race, that's all he can focus on.
Well, if anybody has the ability to keep calm under pressure, it is Sebastian Joe. But we are all set for the sprint race here for the penultimate week of the 2024 season. Engines rise, and away we go. And it's not the best start from the front row, either of them. So Joe immediately cuts off Diogo Pinto's nose in towards Tamburello the first time. Dive to the inside for Johan Harf, and Jordan Caruso up over the curbs. He goes through. Johan Harf's going backwards here in the early going of this race. The front 2 have launched away at the front of this field. The rest of them all squabbling. Caruso still side by side, and that's for Chris Lulham. Lulham stays ahead for the time being, but your reigning champion of Jordan Caruso, he doesn't want to give this one up without a fight.
I don't think we've ever seen Caruso go that aggressive, and especially at the start of a race, 3 wide, forcing the issue, and it's allowed Koita and Joe to have some breathing room as to the top of the hill will go. There is some side-by-side fighting, but it's all outside of the top 10. Those at the front have recognized we've got a lap now to settle into the rhythm, see where we're all going to fan out, and then let's also focus on where we are in the top 8. Invert Matti Siebel locks the front right of his Sontec racing car. 3 wide off the corner exit, and up to the chicane they go.
Oh, in towards Grassini they go, and will they all sort themselves out into the chicane? Got to be careful with the off-track here. Contact! That was Sarika. Around he goes, and the Williams eSports driver drops down the field then. So Sarika drops down to 25th here. It's been quite a contact-laden opening lap of this race here. This is the sprint race. It's only lap 1. This shows you just how desperate some of these drivers are, as now Salva Talens drops down the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen.
I'm just going to make an assumption that, you know, penultimate final corner, he's often in the gravel, and that's why he's lost so much time. The new gravel update that we had a couple of builds on iRacing ago has really slowed down the momentum, arrested you in the gravel, and makes you pay the price that little bit more. And to talk about paying the price, I think Jordan Caruso in some ways is going to slightly regret that move, because he made it 3 wide, yes, but he's only actually gained 1 spot from where he started. So he made this big lunge, he forced the issue. Some drivers had to take avoiding action. They lost a bunch of time. Is it a net gain? +1? Not sure about that.
again, at the end of the day, it's one place up from where he started, but he's got Alessandro Bica all over the back of him in the background of shot there. That is a driver, Alessandro Bica, who has really come on leaps and bounds the second half of the season, Arjuna. I think he's really picked up his pace the second half.
Well, you know, in Bico's case as well, it's curious because last year we were kind of talking about him and trying to see, you know, second season syndrome. What was he going to be able to do? Grab some poles, sprint race winner once, grab the main race win as well. But for him, you know, it's not necessarily been the third season that we would have expected him to really kick on to. He's had consistent finishes, but not up there in terms of the championship mix. As you take a look at that on the right side of your screen, the 22 of Job extends his margin to Diogo Pinto, but only by a very small amount.
So there on the top of your screen is the race for the lead. Sam Keiter is actually pulling away from Sebastian Job right now. The race for 13th on the bottom screen is Luke McEwen, who comes into this week of the championship in third place. You can see on those championship points on the live as it stands championship points on the right hand side of your screen. Job's pulling out a little bit of a lead in the championship. McEwen now 114 points behind as things stand.
And we talked, right, Paul, briefly about we've got a special format for the final round. It's double main races, so those both pay out 50 points in that main race. It's only a 25 points addition to your total if you win the sprint race. And so that means instead of, what is it, 85 points maximum that we traditionally have, it goes up to 110 maximum. Yeah. So if it finishes like this, which it won't, of course, you've got one more race to come, mathematically, we're down to 2 left in contention.
Yeah, that is big, and if Pinto and Job can have it down to almost a gunslinger's fight for the final rounds of the championship, that could really be an exciting week, and you would not want to miss that one next week. But stick around for this one because there's plenty of action happening on screen right now. You've got Jordan Caruso leading this group of cars of Bico, Ariel, Webster, Harp, and Alejandro Sanchez is just off the back of this group. Now it's Webster, Cooper Webster, the Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing driver, who currently sits in the 8th place, which gives him pole position for the main feature race. And we're seeing now just how difficult it is for drivers, if they're in a slipstream train, to be able to work their way through.
He's got Johan Harf behind him as well, and Johan's had a quiet season. He's lurking menacingly as well as we head down towards that opening corner. Harf comes into this round 4th in points, of course, so, you know, he's still fighting for major championship prizes, gets super close to the back of Cooper Webster, but doesn't force the issue. And I love that shot, Paul, just seeing how confident these drivers are in their control, their ability to handle these cars, that they bounce it over the sausage curbs, 2 wheels in the air, and not too much stress being added to their plate.
Yeah, so they go through then, and those sausage curbs, you've got to be careful with them, because if you hit them wrong, they will kick you off track, they will unsettle your car. And look at how aggressive the cars are. We saw it on Sam Keiter's pole lap, how aggressively out of Tosa they immediately go to the full left-hand side of the track to open up that little curve, the right-hander before Piratella at the top of the hill. I've never really seen that as aggressive a line out of Tosa, that hairpin.
It's interesting, right, how we're always just learning new things as these drivers continue to experiment. You go back to Le Mans, some of the lines that we saw being run there, where drivers clearly found a bit more speed and not running down the middle like traditionally we've seen in years past. So it goes to what Sam was also talking about, right, where there's so much experimentation in qualifying going into doing lap after lap after lap. And I will be honest, that's one of the main things that I don't miss about competing in sim racing is qualifying preparation, because at least in race prep, right, you sit there for 1 hour and you do a stint, for example, right? That's easy, that's fine. There's a little internet issue there. When you're doing qualifying preparation, you're doing 3 laps, you know, go out there, do the out lap, do your fast lap, and sometimes if it's a series where you're not allowed to then reset your car, you have to drive it back in. Painful.
that curb strike from Cooper Webster was painful as well. He was almost flipping that car over with how aggressively he hit that curb. He's got Gustavo Ariel, the team Redline driver, in front of him. And behind him, as you mentioned, Johan Haaf. Now, Johan will want to try and get past Cooper here and try and get into that pole position spot here in this race. Remember, the top 8 from the results of this race, their grid position for the main race is inverted. So if you finish 8th here where Cooper Webster is right now, well, you will end up on pole position for that main race, that 16-lap main race. We're already halfway through this race, in the sprint race here, Arjuna. This is going thick and fast, but right now we're looking at Caruso, who once again just always looks like he's almost about to drop off asleep.
I was actually going to say, for the first time as they came out towards the chicane, for the first time, it actually looked like Jordan Caruso looked a little bit irritated, almost like he wasn't quite happy with how this race is going. You can see the margin growing up to Chris Lullum. So Coitet, Jobe, Pinto, Lullum, confident as they are right now, 2 seconds splitting those 4 drivers. But yeah, it's just that car's not necessarily, I think, as fast as those 4 that are just building up their speed towards the front now. And, you know, VRS Coanda, they have a partnership with Altus where they work together, they build setups. Also note that Coanda, not seeing any of their cars, Paul, inside of the top 10.
Yeah, Zach Campbell's the furthest up for them in 12th place, so not been a good day in the office for the Coanda team, and in fact there is Zach Campbell on screen right now.
He sent me his racing driver excuse though, Paul, so I'll just make sure that I mention it. Zach Campbell, I'll direct quote, "If you want a story for the broadcast, I am testing our Formula Student car this morning, then driving back 2 hours for the race."
Nice commitment for you. I tell you what, those Formula Student cars, they are pieces of kit. They are some, you know, people think, oh, it's you know, university motorsport, you know, it's just going to be, you know, tubular frames, chassis and things like that. No, it's full carbon fiber, everything. It is to the nth degree of the level of preparation that those drivers put and those teams put in.
And I would like to just encourage you, if you are interested in going into motorsport, sim racing's one great way to do it. But there are so many sim racers like Zach Campbell, Garrett Lowe. I could go on and on with the names that I have as well, but that do sim racing and Formula Student activities. It's a great step to get you into motorsport, not maybe as a driver, but if you're interested in engineering, there's a lot of different things that you can do in Formula Student. So definitely check it out. And, well, go and look at some of those cars as well, because they are rocket ships.
Now, Beaker is under some pressure here because both Ariel and Webster are close together, and Johan Haaf is right there with them. I think what's helping Cooper Webster here is getting a double draft from in front. That's helping him protect his 8th place as we're on the penultimate lap.
I guess we're also at the point, right, where we've done 6 laps on the tires, so you're starting to see the temperature start to spike. That's what Sam Coitet was talking to us about when we were discussing his pole lap, is you're just managing them, never trying to let them get too warm. And when you feel this much dirty air from in front of you, you basically just get all locked in step, and you end up driving to the pace of the driver in front of you. And so that's the interesting line that you were referencing as well, Paul, where they exit off the corner and instantly left hand down, bring it over to the left side of the track.
There is Jakub Maciejewski on the left, Kevin Nielsen on the right. Kevin, I think it's fair to say, has not been having the best of seasons. He will not be happy with how things have been going for him this season, and he'll be wanting to progress forward in this race. 14th in the championship coming into this round for Kevin. And Jakub, it was his first top 10 finish last time out, so certainly a great sort of positive for Jakub, but it's been a tough season for him as well.
And he's, you know, the sole representative of Drago Racing here in this Porsche eSports Supercup, so doesn't have the help of anyone else. We do know Drago, of course, champions in the Turn Racing Grand Prix Series last year with Premysław Lemonek. They've got so much capability, but it's hard when you don't have teammates. I mean, look at the front. Coitet's up there, but he's got Pinto towards the front as well. You always want to be able to know you've got teammates around you that are pushing you to get to be the best you can be.
Well, right now, if you're Sebastian Job, you are absolutely delighted with what's going on here because you are picking up some really good points over your championship rivals. Bryn Collins has had to come onto pit road to serve a drive-through penalty, so track limits, and that's just in the sprint race. What's it going to be like for these drivers when it comes to the main race, which is double the length?
Got to be a bit careful with your argy-bargy, especially at the start. You've got to give yourself some buffer, a bit of rationing in some ways. Interesting to look at the top of the screen and see Sam Coiter didn't follow everyone in the fight to basically go to the left-hand side of the track. And you have to keep an eye not just on the top to see if there's going to be any mistakes, not going to see many passes, but Paul also below to see if Johan Haaf can make the crucial position, not just for a championship point or two, but to get the inverted pole for the main race.
Yep, it's currently Cooper Webster in that 8th place, and don't forget Cooper Webster, he is a race winner back at Le Mans in the main race there, so he knows what it takes to win a race here in the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup. But we're heading towards the final corners here, down the hill towards Rivazza and Sam Coiter. It has been a perfect start to this event. He was on pole position in this one. He has led every single lap of this one, has had the pace over a champion in Sebastian Job. Sam Coiter is your race winner in the sprint race of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup. Cooper Webster is going to get that 8th place and inverted pole position for the main race. But, well, Arjuna, I have to say, Sam Coiter completely on it for, and completely honestly, had the pace of Sebastian Job in this opening race.
It's clear he came here today with some confidence, but you saw the reaction at the line. He recognized his job is not done just yet. He's still got the longer race left to go, even with that first race win under his belt.
It's Coiter, Job, Pinto, Lulham ahead of Caruso, Bico, Ariel and Webster will be on pole position. Haaf and Sanchez rounds out your top 10. Then it's Dino Lombardi ahead of Campbell with McEwen down in 13th. Maciejewski and Nielsen 14th, 15th ahead of Lasse Bach and Matthias Stuckbeck. Michael Gianni, Salva Talent and Oscar Pai round out your point scorers in the top 20. And drivers who got involved in sort of various incidents, Thompson, Rinne, Marceno Sonen, White, Kita, Sarika, Bryn Collins with a drive-through penalty, and Matti Sipola for your 29 finishers here today. And, well, Arjuna, why don't you take it away with our race winner, Sam Coiter.
Sam joining us once again. Talk us through that race. Didn't seem like you had to do too much. Decent start and controlled after that.
Yeah, the pace was really good. I'm really happy with this first win. Controlled the race. What I said as well after Q is just we've done a lot of practice for this race again, just like any other race, to be fair. And I'm just happy everything is paying off for me, and looking to the standings for the whole team. To be fair, great race again.
I'm glad to see a smile on your face there for a second, by the way, because across the line, not much of a reaction. You've still got that main race left to come. What do you think you can do from 8th position after the invert?
Yeah, it's, I mean, this track in general is just really tough to overtake. So I think, and towards the end on tires, it's tough as well. So I think probably it's just the first few laps, gonna have a look how everything is looking and where we are then. And we will see the last laps, what's going to happen. Off tracks are really tough around here as well. So we got to control this race, just like Red Bull Ring. And then towards the end, I expect a lot.
One final question before I let you go. Your room looks quite tight, quite compact. Is it quite warm for you? Are you sweating a little bit?
I moved houses, so my sim room is a bit smaller as normal, and I got everything closed because I live in the middle of the city now. So there's a lot of sound coming from the outside. So I got everything closed, so I don't hear anything. As Red Bull Ring, there was a lot of fireworks outside, so I'm just making sure I don't hear any sound during Q laps race, whatever.
Well, seemed to work. Congrats, Sam, on the win. Best of luck for the main race. And we'll go from Sam Heuer, who's going to get ready to go for the second race on our agenda, to Cooper Webster, who gets that 8th position, will line up from the inverted pole position. Cooper, how much of a fight was it with Johan breathing down your neck, couple of cars in front, to hold on to that position? Don't forget, you need to unmute your mic, by the way. Still can't hear you just yet, Cooper. Joys of live broadcasting. Let's try to get it figured out.
I love live broadcasting. This is what happens when we do that. It looks like we have lost Cooper there for the moment. Hopefully we do get him back. But yeah, we've only got a couple of minutes before the second race. Here he is, and hopefully we'll be able to quickly have a few words.
Cooper, do we have a copy now?
Yes, you hear me? Yeah.
Gotcha, loud and clear. Yeah, I know you got to get ready, so talk us through that last race.
Yeah, I mean, I just knew what I had to do, like try to aim to get that reverse race, and that's what I did. I had Gustavo there to help me with the draft and whatnot, but it was good, and now I'm looking forward to the feature.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking quickly with Sam Heuer about tires a little bit. How difficult is it going to be to manage them around this track with a longer race distance, especially knowing track limits are so important?
Yeah, it's super important, and it determines the majority of your speed. So focusing on the tires is going to be the most important thing here to stay ahead.
Well, thanks for joining us as always, Cooper. Sorry to give you some stress with technical stuff before the race, but best of luck.
That's all right. Thank you.
Nice to hear the smile, a bit of a laugh as well, because Paul, I can only imagine these drivers, as much as they, I'm sure, enjoy talking to us, all they really want to do is focus on the championship at hand.
I think this would be the last room that I would want to be speaking to as a driver preparing for a main race here with only 3 races left in the season. There you see the format for today. So the top 8 from the sprint race results are inverted for our grid of this main race. 16 laps, and we've heard it there from Sam Heuer, we've heard it there from Cooper Webster. Track limits and tyres, they're going to be the big talking points for these drivers here in this race to come, and I am looking forward to seeing how this all pans out. But one driver who will be delighted with that result from race 1, second place, Sebastian Job, just gets him that couple of extra points over Diogo Pinto. Now if I'm Pinto, I'm determined to stay ahead of Sebastian in this second race.
You kind of have no choice, right? With the way the championship's poised, you have to make sure you have an advantage. And don't forget, you can learn more about the series, the championship standings, and so much more by heading to iRacing.com/PESC.
Well, let's take you through then the main race grid. It's Cooper Webster and Gustavo Ariel on the front row, with Alessandro Bico and Jordan Caruso row number 2, Lullum and Pinto on row number 3. It's Sebastian Job and Sam Heuer on row number 4. Then they start where they finished. Hart, Sanchez, Lombardi and Campbell. With McEwen and Maciejewski ahead of Kevin Nielsen and Lasse Bach. Stuckbeck and Gianni round out the top 9 rows. Talons and Pike, row number 10 ahead of Thompson and Rine, with Marcheno and Sonnen. And then Parker White ahead of, alongside Luca Kita. Sarika and Collins with Matti Sipila rounding out your 29 driver grid. We've got about a minute to go here, Arjuna. If you're wanting a championship chance, you've got to make some moves and get some big points in this race.
Absolutely. I mean, right now as it sits, we're going to be down to 2 going to that final round. It will be down to Pinto, it will be down to Job, and we'll have a repeat champion. The question will just be which driver. I'm loving, by the way, the music that's setting the mood right now, because I'm feeling it. 3 races left to go. One thing I was looking at, scrolling on social media, by the way, you know how teams are getting better and better with social media? Well, one team that's always done a pretty decent job, BS Competition. They've got a Finnish fight song for Oskari Rine that's going to be cheering him on from down in 22nd. He'll be hoping to have a good run from the back.
Yeah, I think he would have hoped for a bit of a better round this time out for Oskari Rine. And, well, he'll be racing for the pride of Finland, but with 10 seconds to go here The drivers are all getting set, and Sebastian Job still has that little bit of a sword of Damocles hanging over him with whether his PC will survive this race. Well, the drivers now look to the starter's gantry, the engine revs rise. It's a long hold, but we are underway here at Imola, and it's a great start from Cooper Webster in pole position as they head down towards Tamburello for the first time in this 16-lap main race. Beaker and Caruso side by side into Tamburello. We saw how aggressive Caruso was in the sprint race. He's ahead of Beaker, and Chris Lowen now trying to go around the outside of Beaker here to try and get into fourth place. Into the Villeneuve chicane they go. Webster from aerial, but Caruso could be a little bit of a thorn in the side for those at the front.
Not as dramatic of a start as compared to that sprint race. A couple of people trying moves here and there, but all 29 of those that started head out of Tosa pointed in the right direction. That separation that builds, though, like you say, Caruso could be the thorn in the side, but because this is the 16-lap race, Paul, at some point they're going to settle in, and I think they'll start to catch back with one another. You've got to wonder behind, though, how aggressive they're going to be. That is one of the Apex cars defending from a Altus car that definitely is trying to force its way forward.
Sebastian Job has got ahead of Diogo Pinto, so the championship rivals in first and second place, they have swapped places here in this opening lap of the race. That's crucial for Sebastian to help him just to try and pull out a little bit more in the championship lead coming out of this week. But it's a long way to go in this race yet. Plenty of action to come for you here as they head down to Rivazza once again. There's your live championship points on the right-hand side of your screen. 32 points is the gap. It was 25 coming into this week.
Did they just juke to fake to pit lane? That is scary. There's a reason it's been banned for the Indy 500 this year, and I hope we don't see it too much more, because someone's going to come a cropper of that. The point situation, though, as much as I'd like to focus on Job and Pinto, the bigger thing is draw a line below those outside of the top two. Mathematically, if it ends like it is right now, they will be unable to win the championship, as already Zach Campbell has picked up a drive-through penalty. How has he done that?
That's got to be not serving a slowdown penalty or something along those lines to have a slowdown penalty. If it was a jump start, it's actually a stop and hold for that. So yeah, that would be most likely not serving a slowdown penalty. And for those of you new to iRacing, you're wondering what I'm talking about with a slowdown penalty. Well, if you go and cut the course, or if you go off into the runoff area wide enough that you gain an advantage, the simulator will punish you for that. It will tell you to slow down for a period of time, and then that you have to give that time back. But we have had it confirmed by our production team here. They've been wound back the tapes there, Arjuna, and it shows I don't know what I'm talking about because it was a drive-through for a jump start.
Well, and apparently it proves that we've already given the racing driver excuse for Zach Campbell, so we've preempted that mistake. Gustavo Ariel, though, has got the weight of Brazil riding on his shoulders right now, because every time he's out there and running well, it's amazing to see the fans just come to our chat and go wild. This is what I'm saying, by the way, like, someone's going to come afoul of that, and it's not going to end well. I'm just hoping it's not today, and we can kick that can down the road to future Paul and future Arjuna.
Well, the arbiter of track limits is not liking that one indeed, and quite frankly, if I was a race director, I'd be shouting at the drivers for trying that. You would get a clerk of the course in real world racing getting you all on the naughty step and saying, right, you lot, you need to sort yourselves out. That is dangerous, and if you are following closely to a car in front, and that car only just jukes out at the last minute, you can't react quite as quick. You hit that tyre wall that's at the end of the pit lane, and then before you know it, you're causing the mother and father of all accidents.
Yeah, and Caruso did get a bit aggressive on the opening lap. We haven't seen too much of that for the most part, so it's been good to see. I think if we come to a track like Imola, having been here for a few years as well, Paul, I think there's a lot of uncertainty in some ways about what to expect, but I think right now we're just settling in and trying to get strapped in to figure out once we get to the final 5 laps or so where tires are going to be, who will be in contention, because like I was saying, the top 3 starting to be closed on by Chris Lullen behind.
Bryn Collins is out of the race. He's the only retirement from this race so far. So 2 Commander eSports cars have been on pit road, one for a drive-through and one to retire the car. It is here today. Gustavo Ariel, I mean, what a debut season he had last season, getting a sprint race win and 2 min race wins. And who was that?
I mean, that camera shot, our poor camera operator, virtual camera operator that's got to stand there and see the cars juke to the left. It's not comfortable, but to your point on Gustavo, yeah, you know, the crazy thing about him is not just the fact that he grabbed 2 consecutive victories, right? One in the main race at the Red Bull Ring and then the sprint race win at Watkins Glen, but he had pressure on him going into the final round, was outside of the top 15, didn't want to go through the contender series, and so what did he do? While we focused on the fight for the championship, on Caruso, on Joe, he just went out there, won the final race of the season, locked himself into the top 15, and from then, Paul, it's all seemingly just been building up and up for him as we see the fight side by side behind as well, as drivers not content to wait. Joe going to get past Pico. Ariel's joined up with Redline and seemingly only getting quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly one of the pride of Brazil in terms of esports drivers up there with a lot of fans. Always great to have all the fans from Brazil watching this one. It's an international, truly international series is this, with drivers coming from all over the world. Australia, Italy, France, the UK, Finland, Poland, Denmark, you've got USA, Germany, Spain, the Netherlands, Portugal, Belgium. It's such a wide variety of nationalities on the grid here. It's always great to see, but yeah, these drivers, I mean, for me, it must be quicker to dip onto the pit lane entry for them to be doing that. But for me, you're steering the car, you're sliding the tyres a bit. I don't think that's quicker.
Let's play the Le Mans, whatever logic, right? I don't know what logic there really was at Le Mans initially, outside of the couple of drivers that had figured out that apparently being off the main racing surface, your car is up in the air. Counterintuitively, what that means is less contact with the ground, which actually will start to cool your tires down. Now, I'm just speculating here because I have no actual proof as to why that's happening, but that's like the only logical reason I can think for doing that, because we're not on the last lap of the race. We're not trying to break the toe to avoid people passing you on a run to the line or to avoid them getting alongside into a braking zone. No, we're seemingly all doing it for one singular reason, and that's for speed.
Well, it's obviously working for them as the drivers now come through. So we've got the race for the lead on the top. They're going to stay pretty much as they are. There's not going to be a lot of movement from that top 3 right now. I think they're going to be very much focused on trying to just keep that gap back to Lullen and to Job, although Job's getting a bit closer to Lullen on this lap and is looking very racy out here today. Do you just get the feeling that Job wants to try and get this race done as quickly as possible so he can try and diagnose any problems that he is having?
Exactly, and by the way, just seemingly getting some confirmation both into my DMs and also from some of the drivers in Porsche's Twitch chat. This line is about getting the car up in the air. It's about tires getting the most speed from it, and they will take whatever little advantage they can get. So we're not going to end up focusing too much more on it from this point forward, because it's going to be a reality that we don't want to have to deal with too much. Every single driver is going to be doing it now that they have all figured it out. But Paul, it goes back to once again what Sam Coyter was saying. It's like the 4th time we brought it up. All of these teams and drivers do so much prep and understanding of all of these ways to go a little bit fast, and then you hide specific things in your back pocket and then we break them out in the race.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing here today. Well, Diogo Pinto, let's focus on him because he's in 7th place ahead of Sam Kiter behind him. Of course, 2 teammates in that Team Redline outfit. Pinto, he's trying to get championship number 2, the Portuguese driver who won in 2022. He's got a tough task, though, of trying to beat Sebastian Job and that Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing team. He's won the championship once back in 2020, so yeah, certainly Pinto has got a job on his hands, no pun intended, and he needs to be moving forward. He's a little bit stuck behind Biko right now.
I think one of the few saving graces here is that, you know, if you're Pinto, you really are just thinking, let me stay within touching distance. Because remember what happened in last year's finale, Paul? It was so much fun. We had Caruso win the sprint race, and we're thinking, oh, he's comfortable. He'll be in a great place. But then issues for him in the main race, it ended up being closer than we ever could have expected.
Well, let's take you on board with an Apex Racing Team car and give you a little bit of full throttle action with Buzz. As we go for a lap there with full throttle from Buzz, and you hear the beautiful noise of that 6-cylinder flat 6 510 horsepower engine, and certainly these drivers are enjoying getting the most out of that car. Well, Cooper Webster again with those little bits of just internet connection issues. He'll be hoping, I mean, I don't think he'll be feeling much effect of that, but he'll be hoping that his connection stays strong enough to get a second main race win of the season.
Looks like Yakimachievsky, by the way, slow down penalty. Yeah, the thing that I was just thinking about while we were watching that both sound lap as well is we've got 3 drivers at the front, or, you know, talking about the international flair of this series, 2 from Australia and racing from Australia as well, and then 1 from Brazil. So sometimes we make some jokes, right, about Australian netcode. I'll blame Daniel Gray for that one in particular, but you know, these 3 drivers all do have to be a little bit cognizant of the fact that they will want to give each other a little bit more room, and fighting with Caruso knowing Job's behind and closing as well. I think there's going to have to be some margin left as we head into the back half of the 16-lap affair. Ooh.
Yeah, as what did you see, Arjuna?
Caruso,
battling.
Yeah, very poor run off the chicane.
Yeah, and Job has got ahead of Caruso. You can see it on the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. And Sebastian Job, there you see him right there coming out of Rivazza into 3rd place now. So Job has been on a charge here this race. He's gained 4 places from where he started in 7th up to 3rd for Sebastian Job. Pinto is still stuck in 7th place. It is coming out beautifully for Sebastian Job right now.
driver of a champion. It's what it is. I mentioned this Thursday, Porsche eSports Sprint Challenge Canada. Charles-Etienne Boucher leading the championship after 2 rounds. Power went out. His dad got a generator hooked up. The stress on his face when we talked to him after qualifying. If we thought Seb looked stressed, if Seb looked stressed, if any of you thought that, oh, Boucher was a different level of stress. He was able to ride through it though and overcome it. Come out on top, win once again and extend his championship lead. And that's what Job is doing right now. Not winning by any means, no, but 2 podium places, 38 points advantage, 134 then to those behind as well. 2 in contention going into Monza.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, it's 110 points for the next week is the maximum that you can get. That's if you get pole and then 2 race wins next time out at Monza, which is not going to be a guarantee, I can tell you. But 38 points now. Remember, coming into this week, it was 25 points was the gap between Job and Pinto. Pinto, by the way, has finally got past Alessandro Bico up into 6th place, and Sam Keiter followed him into 7th place. So those 2 have been able to move forward. There you see them on screen right now. The problem is that they've got about 2 seconds up the road to Chris Lullen.
Yeah, and you know, earlier on I was mentioning fighting for not just the championship itself, but now we're looking maybe at a fight for 3rd in the championship. The difference between 3rd and 6th in the championship is about $7,000. So there's plenty to play for everybody. We're also talking top 15, traditionally locked into next year's Super Cup as well. Don't have to go through the Contender Series. So there's so many storylines to really keep an eye on. And as much as, you know, it's great for us to talk championship, Job and Pinto, some of the best in the world, we also need to just remember that there are other drivers out there, Paul, that will go into that final round wanting points. And much like Gustavo Ariel needed to win to lock himself in, those are points being taken away from championship contenders as well.
Exactly. And we've got double main race points next time out at Monza as well. So as we look a little bit further down the order then, here we see Lasse Bak. It's got Josh Thompson all over him, and talk about a driver who wants some points. And look at the concentration, the focus on Josh Thompson's face, and contact between him and the car behind him, which was Salva Talons. So the Stormforce racing car, side-to-side contact with Thompson. Thompson has shaken the head there. Lasse Bak, another one who's just absolutely focused. But you can see just the movement in the wheel. Thompson was all over the place when we jumped on board with him.
I don't think I've ever seen Josh Thompson that angry. Like, he actually looks like he's not happy with how this race has gone. And I think I can do some lip reading about that situation. Oh, that car, it's not nice. Why did it push me off the road? There was a lot of complaining, which is not always what you want on a radio, right? Sometimes in those situations, yes, you want to vent, but it's better just to not say anything and focus on responding to the fight, because look in front, Salva Talons and Lasse Bak gonna make a little bit of contact as they head off to turn number 1, and Talons looking very calm as he tries to slide his way on forward.
Salva Talons, the Spaniard, then through into Tamburello. Well, it's certainly an intense battle this then for that for 15th place, and they've got Oscar Irene behind them as well as Michael Janney. So it's a 5-car race for 15th place. There's a dive from Josh Thompson. Bak gets a little bit of a shove. He's not happy about that. Oh my goodness, yeah, shaking the head from Lasse Bak now.
Yeah, but he's going to be back to fight sooner rather than later. Oscar Irene, the BS Plus competition driver, has now joined the fight as well, and he'll have a look to the inside, but that's more defensive than offensive. There's so much racecraft that you've got to figure out where you want to position your machine, not force the issue necessarily. And look how much on the curves that wheel bounces around for him. Clearly, lots of these drivers turn up the force feedback on their wheels, just trying to understand every little nuance that the detail that iRacing can give them from the car to go even quicker.
You can see Josh Thompson, he's looking at different screens as well. He's looking at data, he's looking at what is happening, what's the gap between himself and others as well. So it is intense, and remember, this is for the bottom half of the points as well for these drivers. So as they head on to another lap, well, it is going to be 5 laps to go for them to try and get themselves sorted out. We can tell you we're keeping an eye on things at the front as well. Sebastian Job is lapping half a second a lap quicker than Gustavo Ariel right now. So I said that Job was on a charge at the front. He really is trying to get second place in this.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. We talked about the technical alliance, of course, between Coanda and Altus. Redline and Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing have technical alliance as well. So Gustavo Ariel just really struggling with tires. Cooper Webster and Sebastian Job both within 100th or so of a second last time at the line. So very much have been able to manage their cars and the pace of their cars while building the gap to Caruso, Lullen, Pinto, and those behind. Red Bull Sim Racing looking very, very strong.
As they come through, Piratella once again plunge downhill into Aqua Minerale. Favourite corner name in all of motorsport for me is that. As they come out of that corner, up the hill once again, and now Oscar Irine is looking a bit racy, getting onto the grass nearly, and going up towards Grassini, and through, hop over the curbs, right and then left. A little bit of an intake of breath from you as well. I mean, look at how close this racing has been. It is truly intense. This shows that every point matters in this championship.
The reason I got a little bit worried with Oscari there for a second, it can be very easy to Tony Hawk style grind down one of these curves and just lose steering in some cases where you just go straight on. And so I thought for a moment that's what was about to happen, but no. Okay, that view from up above. They are pixels away from hitting the tire barrier, and now as the track veers back off to the right, they'll finally be side by side. I mean, I'm biting my fingernails off here. It is that tense back, and Michael Gianni now going to be side by side as they filter through turn 1. Drago Racing, Jakub Maciejewski's there as well. You've got that wonderful Duracell livery for Parker White. So many strong drivers here, and Paul, drivers having races that I'm quite surprised to see them down here.
Yeah, I think they were involved in things a little bit earlier on. It was at Marina Sarica in that Duracell liveried Williams eSports car, and he makes a move to the inside of Tosa. We are going to be keeping an eye on the race lead and for second place as well. Don't worry, you're not going to miss a thing here. But this racing is so intense down here. This is where our focus is right now. And, well, it's Thompson has been able to pull away along with Rene. But it's back Gianni Maciejewski that we're looking at here, and these three, along with behind them as well of Luca Kita, this is some incredible stuff, and it has been elbows out at times.
And you know, I think the complexion of the season kind of shifted with that mid-season tournament as, well, once again, going to try and see an attempt to try and get to the inside, but blocks being made as down towards the penultimate couple of corners they'll run. That mid-season tournament, the way the racing was so physical, I think it's changed some of the mindset for the drivers. And, you know, I think we had some fun, Paul, commentating on that. I don't think all the drivers necessarily enjoyed the racing, but we're going to have another new format that they're going to have to deal with, adapt to come the final, and I think we're going to see elbows out once again. Now, please don't tell me we're going to be almost 3 wide, 2 deep into turn 1. They're going to force the issue, that's for sure.
Oh, this is mega close into Tamburello, and still neck and neck. They're all slowing each other down here. Here comes Julian Sonnen onto the back of them as well. As you can see them, they're swarming like bees right now. Absolutely neck and neck. Who's got the picnics together, because they need to put a jam sandwich somewhere away. This is just a swarm here. There goes the Stormforce racing car through of Michael Gianni, sorry. But that's going to be the cutback then for Lasse Bach as they go uphill towards Piratella once again. This is fantastic stuff. We don't always get to see the racing at this point of the field, but certainly this is the most exciting stuff as we see the race for second on the top of your screen.
And I think it should say a lot, right, that we are focusing so much on these drivers down the back is almost 3 wide off the corner because they are not forcing so much up front. They are holding steady, and it's very, very calm. Not calm down below. Big Sen's being thrown. That's Sarika leaning on Luca Kita and switching it back, taking advantage. Lasserbach is back to 19.
This is absolutely incredible stuff to watch. We are keeping an eye on that second. As you can see, it's no change for them. But look at this dive to the inside of Rivazza. Does he lose control? Well, he goes off camera there. And the answer is possibly. I don't know. I couldn't see it, but we are missing a car from the back of that shot now. But there's Maciejewski then behind Julian Sonnen and Marina Sarika.
Yes, so I think that was Oscar Pye, the car that would have gone a little bit deep, just trying to work through madness. I mean, this is great to watch, but very hard to try and pick apart what's happening. Much easier up front, where we can still say it's Webster from Ariel from Joe, although having said that, the margin for second is what's really closed down. We were keeping an eye on Ariel and Joe, but on your screen a few moments ago. For the time being, though, Paul, I think it's going to come down to the final lap, whether Joe really wants to force the issue, or does he think that, you know what, it's not worth really going for one position, which ultimately is only going to pay 5 more points.
Well, Gustavo Ariel, I think, has been saving tyres a little bit. He'll save tyres by launching the car that far over the curbs as well. He's picked up the pace. The last lap, he was about 1/10 quicker than Sebastian Job. Sebastian actually didn't get a good run through Grassini there, so actually drops back a little bit as we go through Rivazza once again, and we're going to be starting the final lap of this race. It's Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing Cooper Webster in the lead. It's Team Redline Gustavo Ariel in second place, and it's Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing Sebastian Job in third. Job is not close enough to make a move. He's backing up. You can hear him get off the throttle early there as well, Arjuna. I think he might settle for third place, you know.
Excuse me, settle for third place. I know what you're saying, Paul, but given the situation, right, let's go back to the start when I said there was a smile on the face of Sebastian Joe, but he was right. It was hiding that stress underneath, right, of what was going on just before the race, not knowing if his computer was going to work. Second and third, extend your championship advantage, go to the final round knowing there's only one driver you have to beat. Could you really ask for much more in a championship fight? And it goes back, though, to something, Paul, that I think you and I have talked a lot about. Seb's enjoying his racing this year, and a driver that enjoys their racing makes good choices and wins.
He's been having a great season in the Porsche eSports Carrera Cup Great Britain. He's been having an even better season here in the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup. Sebastian Job and a 992 Cup car seems to be a match made in heaven this year at the start of 2024. Heading down towards Rivazza once again. I don't think we're going to see a lunge from Sebastian here. I've seen stranger things happen though, but no. Behind Gustavo Ariel, but up at the front of the field, it's the Australian Cooper Webster for Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing. He knows he's won. It's 2 main races, victories here in the season. Cooper Webster is a race winner once again. And just wipes the sweat off his brow. He has had to work hard for that one, has Cooper. My goodness, what a race. From pole position, led every lap of the race, and he takes victory here. But further down your order, it's still intense, absolutely neck and neck to the line. Marina Sarika involved in this one. Further down your order, that's 19th, 20th, 21st as they go there, and well, the back of your field. But Arjuna, that was absolutely sensational stuff.
I think Cooper Webster is going to want to talk to me a little bit more after every single sprint race, because both times he's been on the inverted pole position, he's converted to a main race win as we dive into our post-race show. But the excitement on his face, Paul, that's what we really want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I love seeing the emotion, and it is Cooper Webster for the Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing outfit. Takes the win by 1.4 seconds over the Team Redline driver of Gustavo Ariel. Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing, third place for Sebastian Job, championship leader. Chris Lowell ahead of Jordan Caruso, Diogo Pinto in 6th ahead of Sam Kite, Alejandro Sanchez, Alessandro Pico, and then in 10th place was Johan Half. Lombardi ahead of McEwen with Nielsen, Stuckback, Talons, Rene, Thompson, Jani, Back and Kita rounds out the top 20. Sarika Suronen with Maciejewski, Pai and Sipola early your last point scorers. Marceno, White, Campbell and Bryn Collins did not finish the race. Well, that was exciting stuff to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Well, let's take it to your race winner, Arjuna Kankapati, with Cooper Webster.
Cooper, I mean, it's the second time you've gone from that inverted pole to main race victory this season. Controlled from the front. Lots of sweat, though. Didn't seem easy.
Yeah, for sure, lots of sweat. I think I have a problem or something because it gets a bit ridiculous sometimes. I've got a towel here to wipe my forehead, but I didn't use it then. Yeah, I mean, another reverse grid win. I mean, it's not as sweet as, you know, putting on pole on my quali. That wasn't amazing, but, you know, you just have to make the most of what this format is. And I think I did a great job in Le Mans and I did a great job here. So yeah, it was very challenging. I mean, the curves make it very difficult to drive, especially turn 2 to get that right. It's very close to the slowdown. But yeah, just a great job to everyone in the team. I think we had 7 or 6 cars in the top 8, which is incredible.
I've got to ask, in terms of quali, you've got Seb as your teammate, that of course has been pretty good in terms of 3 poles this season, got second here today. Do you look at the data? What differences do you see between the two of you in quali trim?
Yeah, of course I look at the data. Yeah, we all do. But I don't know, he just is very, very good at nailing the lap and putting it together when it counts and under pressure. So I think he's done that really well all season, and he shows that he's the best at it this season. And that's why he's leading the championship. And I think if yeah, he powered through the Gustavo, he got stuck behind Gustavo there, but his pace that race was incredible. And yeah, he's just been outperforming everyone this season, so he deserves the top spot in the championship.
Well, congratulations on the win, Cooper. Go off and celebrate this. We'll see you in a week's time to close out the championship.
Thank you.
Always great to chat to Cooper Webster. We'll go down to Gustavo Ariel. Lango Gustavo. The Brazilian fans are out in chat and enjoying that race. Talk to us about it. Plenty of pressure there at the end from Seb, but you were able to hold on to second.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much everyone for who's cheering. You have a very good community in Brazil. And I'll speak a bit in Portuguese. Valeu, galera. Torcendo aí pelo Lango aí. Ó, o Lango no pódio aqui no Mundial. E tamo junto, gente. Valeu demais. Now in English back. Yeah, it's good to be here with Arjuna. We meet each other last year on the Atlanta Motorsport Park in other events, so it's very nice to come here again. Of course, Imola is a very nice track. The last time we raced in the Contender Series here, like 2 years ago, I won both races, so it's good to be here now as a Supercup driver on the second year and finish on the podium. I'm very happy to represent Team Redline, all the sponsorships, all the teammates. I have a very good reference to compare in the telemetry with Job, with Diogo, with Chris, and all the other drivers. So yeah, I want to congratulate everyone, and mainly Sam for his first Super Cup win. And yeah, I'm very happy to be back on the podium. I think I'm doing a very consistent championship compared to the last year. Last year I won 3 races, but was not very good championship for me because I was fighting for the top 20 and in like the other one I was winning the race and then back to P20 again. So this year is more constant. So yeah, that's why we are in the top 10 championship.
Well, it's a good day for Team Redline. Thanks for joining us, Gustavo. We'll switch, though, over to Sebastian Job, who hopefully is a little less stressed than the last time that we spoke to him. Seb, how are you feeling now? Second and third? I mean, after the stress of the computer issues, I don't think you could have asked for much more.
No, definitely a relief. I think a little bit of frustration because I felt really quick, but I could only get up to P3. But after how pre-race win, I can only be very grateful that I made it through both races and secured a lot of points. So I think there's a lot of relief there, and obviously a lot of pride for both Cooper and Sam getting wins, especially Sam for his first win, as I heard Gustavo say. Very, very well deserved. Sam was flying this week, so it's good to see.
It's a team effort behind the scenes, and Sebastian Job will take the championship lead into our season finale in a week's time. We'll catch up as well with Michael Johnny, because, well, that was a crazy battle that we had down the back of the field. And Michael, you got a smile on your face. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. You know, it's moments like that that I think Pesk does the best, because you don't get racing like that. And not to mention the incident points here are really critical, so saving them to the end to then go for something like that is really critical. But you know, it worked out for me in the end, but it was definitely hard fought. It was good respect, I think, from everybody, and a lot of fun, like you said.
Talk to us about, you know, season, how it's gone so far. One more week still left to go. You've been right around that top 15 bracket where you really want to end up being. Are you feeling happy with how the season's gone, what you've still left to do over at Monza?
You know, it's interesting, right? So before the season, my only goal was, finish top 15, good with that. Now that I'm through the season, I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want more. Obviously, I think I have a lot to learn in terms of driving at this level. You know, it's really a huge step up from contenders this year. And yeah, I mean, I think I'll take away the lessons this year. If I don't re-qualify, that's fine. You know, I'll get back through in the contender series, learn even more. If I do, then I get to keep the black license, so, you know, that's cool. But outside of that, yeah, hoping for the best in the final round at Monza, and we'll see what we can do.
Love the mindset there from Michael Johnny, who, just to confirm, by the way, 16 incident points?
Yeah, I actually underdrove the last corner by about 3/10 because I got in my mind. I was like, I can't off track here. I'm like, no. But yeah, 16.
Track limits, Paul, ended up being important, and we did see a couple of drivers end up with some penalties, but this is how the championship has shaken on out. Well, as we take a look at these points, you can see we talked about it being 110 points, the maximum that you'll be able to get with the double main races that we have. And so therefore, Paul, we're down to just 2 provisionally, pending any race control intervention.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a good idea to unmute your microphone. But, yeah, just 110 points remain in the championship season at Monza. These drivers, they had 2 weeks to prepare for this round. They've only got a week's turnaround. It's back-to-back, and the pressure is on 2 former champions in Sebastian Job and Diogo Pinto.
Yeah, and I had mentioned as well, right, that Jordan Caruso in the season finale last year had some dramas in the second race. Now, because some of these contenders also had issues, it didn't end up being a factor. But Paul, with just 2 left to go, heading to the Temple of Speed, we know anything can happen through turn number 1, and I think both those drivers will have to recognize when to put their championship above making a single pass out on track.
Make sure you join us in just 1 week's time. For those of you in Europe, don't forget that the clocks do change, so we've got that to look forward to. But yeah, next time out at Monza for the championship finale once again. And well, it just leaves us to say, from everybody here behind the scenes from Porsche and iRacing, myself, Paul Smith, and Arjuna Kankipati on the commentary, we saw some thrilling racing here once again in the Porsche Heuer eSports Supercup. Join us in a week's time at Monza. Until then, it's goodbye.